Welcome to Incomplete Thought, folks. My name's Keanu, and I'm joined again with the very first guest of my podcast ever, Mr. Justin Roussel.
Yeah. I forgot I was your
that's about how
first guest.
You were, dude. That was
I
about,
forgot
that was
that.
exactly how
Yeah.
it started last time, too. You're like, yeah. It's
I forgot.
one of those.
I did. You had already had it going, kind of. I thought. I mean, we talked about it a lot. I guess that's what made me think you already had talked to people on there.
Right. Well, that's the thing is I had been talking about it. I'd wanted to start it up, and just the whole starting of anything, like a process, is the biggest pain in the ass. Whether you're writing something I have a bunch of we're going to the gym and working out, fucking trying to get build certain types of muscles and shit. It's a hard thing to start doing, but once you get into
Once
it,
you go, it's a
yeah,
slow
it's
one.
pretty much exactly as long as you don't fall off. I thought about because tonight, obviously tonight's Halloween, and thinking about doing something else. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. It's like, no, fucking do it, dude. You got to get the shit done. Because
Yeah, you already did your Halloween party.
Yeah, well, the Halloween
I
party
heard
was
that
fucking
one.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was a
I heard that
fucking
podcast.
crazy party. Yeah. So, what did you guys? Are you guys doing anything like a Halloween party? Or
No, I
anything
went.
like that?
Me and Candace went out to my buddy's house last Saturday. We did our little thing then.
Yep.
And
Well, what's
we
a little
dressed
thing?
up as
Go
Mary
break
Poppins.
into
I don't know. It was it was a guy I worked with. Him and his wife. They have 3 kids, and so their kids wanted them to get dressed up. But the guy I work with, man, he's like, he's 40 years old. You don't want to be dressing up and stuff. And then he invited me to a costume party, and I said, "Yeah, I'm dressing up." And he said, "What are you going to be?" I said, "What's the point of having a costume party if I'm going to tell you?" And Candace had already decided that she wanted to do the Mary Poppins and Bert Poppins idea. So I was a chimney sweep, and she was Mary Poppins.
Oh, no shit. Yeah,
He dressed up,
saw
and he
the
was a
pictures.
werewolf, the big bad wolf, and his wife was Little Red Riding Hood, and they did cuts on her face and stuff. And Candace put face paint makeup on my buddy's face.
Shit. She did the makeup for it? Damn.
Yeah.
Because she's an artist anyway. Candace is an artist. I mean, we got to get her on the podcast at some point too. But she's an artist. If she did the makeup, did she do your guys' makeup too?
Yeah, yeah. She dressed up every day, dude. She teaches dance part time, on the side, and her studio did a costume week. So every day of the week, you could dress up and be something that had to work with your uniform, or you still had to be able to wear your dance clothing. So she was a different thing every day. She was the devil one day, then she was the Cheshire Cat the next day, and then she was a giraffe. And then her and I went to ballet together, and I was Superman and she was Wonder Woman. And
Nice.
Then
you had the tights on.
Friday we
There you
went
go.
to the haunted house, and on the haunted house I was Ted the bear, and I don't remember what she was that night, but
Yeah. Dude, it's funny with Halloween, the different thought processes that go into picking out a costume, and there's some people that just go into a place and they're like, I'm gonna be a vampire, and it's I get it, it is a kid holiday, but at the same time, you're gonna dress up, put in a little fucking effort, you know what I mean? And like you were saying, your buddy who's having a costume party. I mean, just for people who first tuning into Justin hadn't heard the podcast, you live in New Bern, North Carolina, so.
yeah.
It's the South, and that dude's 40 years old. He probably grew up in a time where people would have called him a faggot if he was dressing up past the age of 16. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he's
it's
a character. That guy, he's an iron worker. He don't really care about nothing. So for him to be,
Right.
I don't know. I guess it was probably because he invited me, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want to dress up. So his kids were enticing him, and then me and Candace had said we were dressing up, and his wife wanted to dress up. And I mean, there was he had a bunch of his friends come over, his wife's friends. They all had kids. It was a really big kid party. I mean, we made Jello shots and stuff, but
Yeah, but it was mostly for the kids. But so
Yeah.
there wasn't too much of an actual full on rager type of thing. You weren't doing somersaults into a pool, were you?
No.
Obviously. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you can get pretty crazy when you're drinking.
Yeah, we were just drinking around the house, hanging out, eating food, and
That's the fun thing about parties, though, is like, you know, people always pan it out to be like, well, we gotta get fully 100% wasted to have a good time, and it's like, no, you don't. You can have a few drinks and be fine. You don't need to get fucking blitzkrieged to.
Hey, you remember that
you
Halloween party that I had
nothing.
at my house when we lived in Maine together?
Yeah, I think so. When was that?
In my garage.
Oh yeah, dude, that was
like
fucking
sophomore
tight.
year.
Yep, smoke machine.
That was a
fucking,
sweet party, yeah.
dude. It was an awesome party. And
Eli
then not
set
only
up his
that-
whole DJ gear, everything, and we got catered from Subway and all kind. I mean,
ridiculous,
that was
dude.
crazy there, dude. That was fun.
Yeah, dude, you put on some good fucking parties too. Like as far as that
I
goes,
think
and
that
there was no alcohol there either. It was just like
No,
it was a weird
that was the reason I
teenager
didn't want to
party
do any
that there was no
alcohol because.
booze.
Well, that's the reason I didn't want to do any alcohol, man, because it was the year before someone had gotten killed on Halloween from a drunk driver. So I wanted to keep people that weren't going out off the road, you know? That was my whole idea behind that, to just keep people in. And then I think there was like 350 people that showed up to that.
Fucking ridiculous, dude. It was fucking
crazy,
sweet,
man.
Yeah, and
it was
all
invite
in your
only,
garage too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was only garage. It was in the garage. So and just so people can understand, it's a big fucking garage. Like you could
Yeah, it
have
was a
ran
4-bay
your own
garage,
shop
dude.
out of it. Yeah, like,
Yeah, it was a 4-bay garage.
So, exactly, and you know, it was just a good time.
I did
for sure.
costume contest. We had cash prizes for best female costume and best male costume. We had trophies
that?
for every.
Do you remember
I think
who
that
won?
all the Athena girls won. It was
for sure.
voter based, you know. I didn't. It was no bias. Everybody voted. So the Athena girls won, and then
I
for the
remember
guys,
what you
I don't
were
know
for
who-
Halloween. I remember. Do you
That
remember
year?
what you were for Halloween? Yeah.
Yeah, I was a cowboy. Brokeback
you
Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So remember that? Dude, I mean, hey, fuck it. We were all comfortable with we used to sleep in the same bed as Nate, you know, all snuggled up together. Yeah, fuck it.
I think
We're
we had
comfortable
8
with our
people in that bed
sexuality.
at one time.
Dude, for sure. That was fucking nuts. Like, fuck it, whatever. Of course, like, you know, mostly slept. You always slept with your shirt off. I was always like,
Oh, yeah.
just
Yeah.
as gay enough as it is that we're all nut to butt
That's
right
all
now. But like, you had to take your shirt off, make
I
it
ain't worried about it.
extra weird. Yeah, you ain't worried about it. You were ironically like, because like as much as I get painted as being like super left wing, you were oddly more open to shit than I was. I think at that point in time, like I mean, I dressed up. I want to say it was like ninth. Like, so I would have been a freshman in high school. I dressed up as a girl, you know, and it was with like an ex-girlfriend and her brother dressed up like a girl too. And like, we thought that was so risque and like all this stuff and shit like that. And we did actually get pursued by like 2 douchebags down the street calling us faggots the whole time. But like, you know, I was like, the whole time I just kind of felt bad. Like I was like, ugh. Like, you know, like I was like, oh, I need to take this off. This isn't right. But thinking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, why did you give a shit? Like, it's 2 guys. You're ready to fight. I was like, I'm going to kick your ass dressed as a girl. Do you know that, right? It got pretty bad when the dude that was pursuing us, like, left, got his friends, and then there was, like, 3 or 4 of them, and they all had baseball bats. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we're about to get lynched. And the local, I'm, you know, alleged pedophile actually helped us out.
What?
Yeah,
Who's that?
dude, like the guy. Oh,
You're not dropping names or what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna drop a name, but let's just say this dude used to do tattoos, and the girlfriend I was with at the time, like he would do piercings and shit, and he would mac on her all the time. And this is a fucking 15-year-old girl, and he's a solid 45-year-old man. Okay, so maybe not a pedophile like touching little boys, but definitely fucking creeping, dude. It was gross, you know. But yeah, we ended up meeting up at his house because, of course, where else were we gonna go where I guess her brother could drink which would be his house. But yeah, we ended up like taking shelter in that house, and like he had a shotgun, so it was all good. But but yeah, no, super fucking creepy. So it was one of those times where I'm like, well, I don't feel like I ever want to do this again. Like, so. But yeah, that was fun times. Halloween can be a fun night. It can also be a shit night.
Yeah.
Depends on who you're with. But I'm sure you had some crazy Halloween nights in the Marine Corps, right? Like when you're in California?
Dude, I think I was only in California
remember?
for one time during Halloween, and I didn't go out and do anything because I was training, and the guys that I was with weren't, so we were like separated. But they all went out as a Toon Squad. I remember that, and that's the only time I remember Halloween in California. San Diego, they have this Monster Mash down at the gas lamp, and I guess it's really big and it's really popular and crazy. They like shut off downtown San Diego, and it's just a bunch of people walking around as fuzzies and just all costumed
the
up.
Furs.
Yeah,
the furs and fucking shit, dude.
I never went down there. They all went down for that, and I never ended up going down because
just wasn't. I
was busy.
Yeah,
I couldn't be showing up hungover.
Yeah, you don't want to fucking mess up some training because you drank a million fucking tequila shots the night before. Probably would have made the day better though. You were already hating your life training and shit, and it's like. I might as well just be hungover.
I think I was getting ready to leave the next day. Is where I was going to a different part of California the next day or something.
Yep.
I don't remember. I would have went out with them. Those are all my boys. They all went out together. They had one of the guys had a girlfriend, and she was Lola Bunny, and all the rest of them. Like we had one dude who we had one black guy, and he was. Michael Jordan. We had one guy who's like mixed between like Filipino and he's just like Islander, he's really Islander like. So he was Taz. We had one big guy who was like a little, he was pretty jacked from working out, but he was not like a fit jacked. He was like a
meathead jack, like
no, he was just kind of like media, like big bone jacked. So he was, okay. I think he was Tweety or something. I don't know. They just had a whole little cast going. It was pretty cool.
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, I went to some Halloween parties with Nate when he was at Plymouth. We went as the Red Ranger and Green Ranger one year, which ended up like throughout the night because I get wasted and then I start overanalyzing stuff. And so we would go into a party. And I do that when I get stoned too. But like we would go into like 3 different parties, and there was always 2 girls dressed as Mario and Luigi, and like I just started looking and I was like, what? Oh, and then I'd look and because I'm the Red Ranger, I'm like, so I'm Mario, and Nate's like Luigi right now, and it would just like that's who we would mac on. We would always just gravitate towards the Mario and Luigi people. I mean. I never went home with anybody, but probably because I was sitting there analyzing everything.
Everybody already knew it.
Everybody knew it, exactly. I got to be in my element of like, hey, can I make you laugh first? Like that type of thing. But if I'm drunk, explaining why Mario and Luigi is just like our costume, it sounds pretty retarded. So,
well, last year I was in Wisconsin when I was at school, and I got to be up with my friend. I think we had a 3-day weekend for Halloween, so he lived in Wisconsin, like probably 2 hours away, or an hour and a half. He came and picked me up, and I went with him to his town, and we in his little town, man. I think his town is like 500 people, and inside of his town, there's 3 bars. And in the town, I mean, you think like, I don't know, I guess like. Maybe Waterford, like if you're driving through Waterford, like,
which people who listen and don't really know what that is, but it's a tiny town.
I was just trying to explain it, like a small little rinky-dink town, like hay bales going across the road. There's more cows in the town than people. That's exactly what he lived in, a town called Platteville, Wisconsin, and not Platteville. He lives in that's where his college town is. His hometown is Hollandale, Wisconsin. That's it. And yeah, there's 3 bars there. There used to